Hey, how are you? This is Daniel Zendi, and today we're going to have an international look on the hierarchy of nationalities in Australia. And this is a photo of the day. It's me loading up some sort of storage in Melbourne Town Hall in Australia. So let's get with it. First of all, Australia is a really popular country to move to overall. It has a really high foreign-born population. If you compare it to OECD countries, you're going to see that Switzerland and Luxembourg, they're higher, but Australia comes number third. And even other countries that are known for really high immigration, like Canada, Austria, most of Europe, and even America, like they're like literally half the rate that Australia has. So Australia is really a hotspot for immigration. And if you compare it to even countries that don't have a lot of immigration, Mexico, it's 1.3% of the population that is born abroad. In Brazil, it's like 0.7. In, I don't know, Malawi, it's 0.9. And in Australia, it's literally nearly 30%. So it's really, really, really a popular country. And it's also a popular country for international students because normally education is very efficient, or at least it's perceived as a very efficient way of moving into a country. And Australia is number 5 for international foreign students, but obviously, its population is much smaller than France, the UK, Canada, and definitely the US. So if you consider it proportionally, it's probably one of the highest countries in the world in terms of students per capita. So it's extremely popular with students, and there is a pretty direct access not only to student visas, but also there's like a pretty direct access to other immigration pathways from a student visa. So also there is a lot of working holiday makers. There's about 206,000 estimate around in December 2024. I was one of them, and it's by far the most popular working holiday destination in the world for Europeans, for Americans, for some Latin Americans, and for some Asians as well. So you can clearly see that Australia is really, really popular. And if we take the net migration potential of Australia, it's one of the highest in the world. That's when you ask potential migrants, if you could move anywhere, where would you move? And you add that up, and in Australia, if everyone who really wanted to move to Australia, who numbered Australia number one country they would want to move, just move to Australia, Australia's population would more than double, increase by 135%. So it's extremely high in migration desirability. Singapore, New Zealand, Switzerland are maybe a bit higher, but Australia, Canada, yeah, they're definitely up there. What do I mean by a hierarchy of nationalities? It's mostly passport privilege, but it's far beyond tourist visas. So it also considers your work opportunities, your eligibility for other visas, and your general freedom of movement with that country overall. So let's try to do a hierarchy of nationalities in Australia. And remember that different countries, they don't only have something that's directly related to the passport, but they also have different language requirements. They have different education recognition for their education in their country. They have higher or lower scrutiny for skills assessments, for visa requirements. So it is very, very broad. And this is the ranking. SSS, obviously, if you're in Australia, the best thing to be is Australia. That's a no-brainer. Kiwis, they're treated very, very well in Australia. They have freedom of movement with Australia, so they move there. And there's some things, sort of like welfare and certain things that they might not be eligible for, but mostly it's as if they're Aussies. So it's really, really good. Tier B is British people, people from the UK. They have very generous working holiday arrangement. It's easier to recognize your profession, to recognize your previous education. The countries obviously are very similar. They speak the same language. They have a common history, obviously. And so being British in Australia, you're definitely set on the right path. If you want to immigrate, if you want to just be in Australia for a while, it's definitely the easiest one. Tier C, I'm going to call upper developed. That doesn't mean that the countries are more developed. It just means that they have a slightly, in general, they're more developed, and it means that they have a better visa arrangement with Australia. So, for example, those would be the countries that have the 417 visa to go to Australia. Italy, France, Germany, they're solidly in the C tier. The reason for that is the other working holiday visa, the one that, for example, people from Chile or the US or Austria or Spain or Portugal get. It's just a worse visa because, well, you have to prove English, some English requirements. You have to have gone to college for 1 or 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, and it's just a little harder to get. Also, normally with those visas, there's a quota. So those would be countries in the lower developed or tier D tier. E would be most Latino countries. Some Latino countries are in tier G, like I said, Chile, for example. But a lot of the Latino countries, even if they do have a working holiday arrangement, the quota is so small, the scrutiny is so high, the probability you're going to manage to get a working holiday in Australia is really, really small. And the reason why working holidays are good is you can work full time, you can just stay there for as long as you need. And obviously, if you do farm work, you get more, 1 or 2 more extra years. Whereas, like if you're going to study, well, there's a student cost. There's the fact that you can only work 25 hours a week. But yeah, a tier E would be mostly Latinos and Southeast Asians who do have occasionally some sort of working holiday arrangement. Sometimes they have a good relationship with Australia, and then there's everybody else. So if you're like from Africa, from South Asia, normally you're playing it rough, let's say, on your immigration game. And yeah, like I said, it really isn't just, oh, I got a visa, like I got a working holiday, or I got a student visa or something. It's about skills assessments. It's about language requirements. Obviously, if you're from Ireland or the US or the UK, you're not going to have any language requirements. If you're from a country that signed the Lisbon Convention, mostly whatever education you got in your home country is going to be pretty easily translated into education equivalents in Australia. Whereas if your country didn't sign the Lisbon Agreement, which is most countries on the E and lower, then you're going to have a much harder time. Your work experience might not count. Yeah, if we're going to wrap it up, Australia is an extremely popular country for immigration. It has definitely been one of the most open countries in the West historically. However, it is definitely easier for some countries than others. And as in the case of most other countries, passport privilege plays a role long after you get in the country. So even if you get your visa, for your skills assessment, for your language requirements, for just prejudice in general, obviously, depending on where you're from, you have a much, much better deal. But yeah, would you move to Australia? Let me know in the comments below.